now, but I think it's the first address of Ancelotti to the entire team, at least out here on the pitch in the first training session. And apart from that, his assistant manager is obviously taking over the day-to-day training work here. I'm sure we'll be able to go into a little more detail as the sessions, as the weeks pass. But I think it's the first time in this training session that Ancelotti actually gets involved himself. He said that the relationship to the players is the most important aspect of a manager's job. He has an idea of football and he has to convince the players that this is the right idea. He has to make sure that these players are comfortable with this idea, because of course they have to go out onto the pitch and adhere to this idea and follow his suggestions, follow his philosophy. I thought remarkably he also said if the players aren't convinced of his idea, he'll change it, no problem. But he's of course known to be a manager that actually has a very good relationship with his players. Superstars like Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic have commented on the wonderful work with Ancelotti and have commented on how highly they regard him personally as well. Here he's making some friends with the players. First time under Ancelotti that the players actually get to play a little bit of football, a competitive game here, not as easy and straightforward as you'd find in many other lower league football clubs, but the ball's involved, they're playing against each other, nothing more fun than that for the players. Let's enjoy this and hope we see some exciting moments now. Holger Badstuber, the man in yellow, a bit of a free agent here in this game. Team Blue playing from right to left, trying to score against the left goals. But they're facing away from the pitch, basically, so that's something that we never saw under Pep Guardiola, at least not in public training sessions. And that's what the players, of course, I think we're looking forward to in the upcoming weeks and days in particular. Just some new exercises, a bit of fresh wind. You can see how the team in red now basically barricades that goal. Now they'll have to make their way across the pitch again. Here's a long ball forward. Let's see. It's a good opportunity there. Nice pass by Philipp Lahm. I assume you get the idea. Again, Badstuber, the man in yellow, a free agent, teaming up with whichever team's in possession. Blue has to score on the left goals. Team red on the right. Let's see if we have a winner.
Gut, bis gleich.
Zeit. Gut, die können.
Nee, nur ungefähr, dass wir. Also, eine Minute, zweimal 6 Minuten noch. Ja. Pause, eine Stunde, nehmen die rein. Wenn ihr die jetzt schon reinfahrt, ist es falsch. Nö. Aber ich weiß es nicht. Also bis auf weiteres Mühe ist das anders. Ich meine, wenn ihr bis dahin springen jetzt, normal. Normal, wenn jetzt geht, in die Pause können wir noch springen hier. Ja. That's a good enough, yeah.
Good to see that Holger Bartschuber is obviously conducting this training session without any major problems. On the contrary, he seems fit and happy. And one of the last players to have a drink here, if he even had one. Doesn't seem to be too tired now. And again, in case you joined us later, the temperatures here in Munich are excruciatingly hot today, which is why we're seeing several breaks. All the training sessions, well, most of the training sessions, I should say, this week is scheduled for the early evening or late afternoon. And as fun as these exercises might be, when you play a competitive little training match here, don't forget, unlike normal football games, there's really no break in this game. No throw-ins, no set pieces, no controversial offside decisions. That means it's non-stop back and forth here for the players. And again, as fun as that might be, it is really, really hot. And after a while, it starts to get really, really hard. A fact that doesn't prevent these players from doing their best here. It's an opportunity, of course, for the youth players in particular to stand out, to impress Carlo Ancelotti if they can. We've had that in the past in several generations of young players that were able to impress their coaches and use the opportunity of this diminished squad. Arjen Robben always going in for the kill. One recent example of a youth player, Julian Green, for instance, has been in the situation before. Gianluca Gaudino was one of the young players, Heuberg, a couple of years back, who just used these pre-season sessions where a lot of the key players were still missing from the squad to impress. The ideal development then for a young player is that the coach decides to integrate this player into the training squad for the rest of the season, maybe even sign a professional contract if that hasn't already taken place anyway. But then it's also an opportunity, of course, for players like, let's say, Juan Bernat, Javi Martinez, possibly Mehdi Benatia, to cement their position in the squad before the others return. Rafinha is another good example. Franck Ribéry, Arjen Robben, all players that, like everyone else at Bayern Munich, face pretty stiff competition now on their positions. Carlo Ancelotti, of course, loves that and mentioned earlier that he believes this squad is competitive because every position is covered. You've got at least 2 players for every position on the pitch. But it's issues like Javi Martinez, just as a random example, who was used by Pep Guardiola more as a centre-back. Will he possibly return to holding midfield under Ancelotti? Or will he be so impressive in these first few weeks that he could possibly challenge Jerome Boateng or Mats Hummels for a position in the centre-back? Same goes for Mehdi Benatia. No lack of motivation here, and no lack of determination in this training game. As you can see, many fans at Munich Siebener Street are enjoying themselves. They're watching Holger Badstuber score a goal here, applauded by Carlo Ancelotti. If, by the way, you're ever in the area, if you ever decide to come to Munich to visit a game, you should definitely check out the Bayern website and have a look and see if there's a public training session that's accessible to the public. Obviously, during pre-season in the winter break, you're more likely to catch these sessions, but we'll have to wait and see what Carlo Ancelotti decides, if there'll be a return to more public training sessions even during normal football weeks. Usually it's not possible during Champions League football weeks or DFB Cup weeks, simply because there are only 1 or 2 real training sessions the players can conduct a week, and the coaches want to practice tactics or refresh the tactical knowledge of their players. But during the preseason and sometimes during quiet weeks with only weekend matches, coaches do the fans the favor, so to speak, of opening up the gates here at Munich Siebener Street and allowing fans in to watch the public training sessions. So again, if you're in Munich ever, you should check that out. It's always worth a visit. You'll see some of these superstars up close and personal, a couple of nice goals and a lot of skill, which of course becomes apparent the closer you are to the action.
Dann die Leute laufen. Das ist ja nichts los, also muss man fairerweise sagen. Schauen wir mal, Donnerstag ist Vormittag, da wird ein bisschen schlimmer.
Lavia! Zeig! Links.
So, Donnerstag.
Zeig! Ja. Ruhig! Sieh! Oh!
Another little refreshment break. Time to give you an update bad and good news, I suppose, in one for Bayern Munich. I'm not quite sure yet about the details, but it's just been made official that Douglas Costa will in fact be unable to participate in the Olympic Games, and he will return to Munich soon to train here and to start his recovery program from injury. He's just not fit, not healthy enough to play the Olympic Games, although even if Karl-Heinz Rummenigge said that Bayern really regrets that, because they wanted to do Douglas Costa the favor after he expressed his willingness to participate in this possibly once in a lifetime or a very rare opportunity that I think most players really would enjoy. But again, Douglas Costa, that's a very current update here, will be unable to participate in the Olympics, but will instead return to Munich soon. If he hasn't even returned to Munich already, I'm honestly not quite sure of that right now, but he will be in Munich in the next couple of weeks, that's for sure, and will conduct his rehabilitation and recovery program here. That might actually, that's why I mentioned good and bad news for Bayern Munich, might not be the worst news for Bayern Munich, because everyone expected Douglas Costa to miss the first couple of competitive games due to the busy schedule involving the Olympics. Now that might change. We will of course keep you updated on the Bayern website how Douglas Costa's recovery program develops. This sliding tackle just now, not the first pretty rough challenge during this training game. Nothing unusual at all. It just illustrates what I mentioned earlier. This is not your friendly kick in the park on a Sunday afternoon. The players are hugely competitive. That's part of what it takes to become a professional in the first place, obviously, and relentless too. Ribéry scoring, Philipp Lahm scoring. I think, I'm not sure 100%, I didn't really keep count, but I think Team Red is up by possibly 2 goals. I'm not quite sure, to be perfectly honest, but the players here really don't like to lose. There's another couple of players writhing on the ground there. Depending on what kind of player we're talking about, some players really pretty angry if they lose in training. A good example is always Manuel Neuer, who of course won't be joining the Bayern team in a while, but also Ari and Robben, players who really don't like losing in training. Manuel Neuer, in his case, it's more about conceding goals in training. He's super angry, furious even with himself, with the whole world, and someone that you really have to be a little careful with after training sessions that didn't go his way. On the other hand, of course, if his team does win, if he does a good job and hardly allows any shots to pass, he's in a fantastic mood. Again, all a part of this competitiveness that you really need to show all your professional life if you want to make it at a club like Bayern Munich. Maybe just to finish that thought, of course, that's another fantastic opportunity for these young players, not only to show the new coach what they're capable of, but to simply learn from players like Franck Ribéry, like Philipp Lahm, that every session counts, every minute counts, and only if you really perform in every session, here's a goal by Team Blue, only then can you improve with every session. That's what Carlo Ancelotti had in mind when he said earlier that he is very much looking forward to playing with this squad, because he believes, and he says he knows, he actually repeated that, I know that these players are very professional, very serious, and I love professional and serious players. If you watch our live sessions on FCB TV or on our social media channels regularly, you will know that that is exactly what Carlo Ancelotti can look forward to. A very concentrated, very serious, very professional squad, which hopefully will also continue to be very successful. So I think by now Pep Guardiola would have lost his voice for the first time at Bayern Munich. You'll remember from the past training sessions how involved he was, how vocal, how outspoken, how he could hardly stand still and not comment on what was going on. Carlo Ancelotti seems to have a bit of a calmer approach to the whole issue here, observing what's going on. I'm sure